Hey, what is up, guys? It is your boy Kingdom Soldier, and I'm back again with another commentary. I'm gonna get right into this one because I'm gonna rant a little bit. I'm gonna let some stuff off my mind, and I don't know how long this is gonna go. It could go very long. So I'm gonna start by saying, OpTic Hex, I DM'd you this video, and the reason I did is because if you'd like to come on my channel and be interviewed, answer any questions about why you created OpTic Nation, what went into that decision, and picking up ProoFy and that kind of stuff, I'd love to have you on, because in this video I'm going to give my opinion to you guys of what it looks like from the outside looking in. And I want to be honest with you guys. You know, I said on Twitter today that I look at roster changes the way that Gandhi looks at the way that like I said it in Gandhi wisdom, and his thing is, you know, I love you, but I don't love you. I love roster changes because of what they do for my channel, but I don't love them. You know, my channel was kind of going slow, and I was growing at less than 100 subs a day. It'd fluctuate from 80 to 40 to 50 to 60, and it was because I wasn't uploading daily. I was uploading like twice a week, and 3 times a week was a great week for me. And then roster changes happen. I dropped my ProoFy video, and then I pick up 444 subscribers in one day and almost 200 the next day. And so, and it's still, you know, I've gotten 50,000 views in 4 days, you know, and so I can't complain about that. That's good stuff, you know. Hey, good job, go roster changes. But at the same time, they drive me bananas, and that's why everybody keeps asking me on Twitter, are you gonna do a video about Parasite joining Envious? Are you gonna do a video about... No, I don't want to do videos about all of these different roster changes. You know, hit up my boy Blaze, watch his channel. Gandhi did a good job of updating a lot of them, but I don't want to do a video on all that kind of stuff anymore. And I feel like I had to do this one because I feel like, well, I'm going to contend that OpTic Nation was a bad idea. I don't care about how good the players are. I don't care about how good OpTic Gaming is right now. OpTic Nation is a bad idea for competitive Call of Duty, and I'm going to tell you why. And I'm also going to contend that all of this, all of the roster changes we've recently seen in competitive Call of Duty are the result of one player wanting to be on different teams, and that player is ProoFy Cannon. I've got nothing against ProoFy, but ProoFy has caused a storm of roster changes in competitive Call of Duty and Call of Duty esports. And so let me start with ProoFy, and that'll bring me over to OpTic Nation. So ProoFy was known on Black Ops 1 because he was on 5 different teams. He was on OpTic Gaming 3 different times in Black Ops 1. He was known as a sketch. You know, he basically almost made the word what it is and you know, brought it to reality, because he went from OpTic to Leverage to, he just went all over the place and started on Fear and just bounced around, went back and forth to OpTic, and he just wanted to win, and if he saw a better opportunity, he left. And then on Black Ops 2, ProoFy stays with one team for an entire year, and I did a video on him, my Call of Duty profile on ProoFy, and I said that, you know, when he was interviewed right after COD Champs, and people asked, you know, what is it that helped you be so successful, and what advice do you have for other players that want to be as successful as you? And he said, stay on a team, stay on a family, stay in your home, do not change teams. But this is the 4th team that ProoFy has been on in Call of Duty Ghosts already. We're halfway through the game. ProoFy's been on 4 teams, because I count FaZe Original and FaZe Black as 2 different rosters. So ProoFy's been on 4 teams, and let me kind of walk through why I think ProoFy caused all the roster changes. So ProoFy is on Envious, and ProoFy decides that he doesn't want to play with Rambo, that he thinks they need to replace him, and he talks to Hastro, I want to leave, I don't want to play with him anymore, and Hastro says, okay, well, who can we get? And, you know, I don't know how the Scumpy thing went down. I'm not going to say that I know how it went down, but I'm guessing that it had something to do with ProoFy wanting a different roster. So they get Scumpy on Envious. ProoFy is happy. Scumpy realizes he made a mistake leaving Hex and goes back to OpTic. ProoFy is now mad, and he's like, I'm leaving, I'm done, I don't care. And ProoFy leaves. And they didn't know ProoFy was going to leave, but ProoFy leaves, and ProoFy goes to FaZe. And it looks like ProoFy's in a home. He's, you know, he's playing well with these guys. They're doing a good job. They're doing a good job on the online. You know, they did better than everybody else in season 1, and they were doing good in Search and Destroy. And then they finished 6th place at COD Champs. And at the end of COD Champs, after SB finished 4th, ProoFy started having conversations with Censor and Saints saying, hey, I want to play with you guys. I've already talked to FaZe, you know, and I want my own team. And this is how Freaky Toast kind of kind of talked about this, and Censor admitted that he lied, that he was already talking to ProoFy about going to FaZe Black, and so ProoFy talks to Temper and says, you know what, I don't want to play with JCap and Classic and replays anymore, and I think I'm going to leave and try to find it. And Temper's like, no, ProoFy, you know what? We'll give you your own team. Who do you want to play with? So ProoFy starts talking to these guys and breaks up the entire team of SB. And they all come over to play with ProoFy, and then ProoFy leaves and goes to OpTic. Doesn't make any sense. And everybody's looking at Parasite saying, you know, Parasite is the worst. He's just, you know, he's been on so many teams and blah, 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 blah. But nobody realizes that part of Parasite's decision making to leave Curse was that he probably thought that Nameless was going to leave Envy. And everybody knows, it was all over Twitter, that Blevdog and Curse were hitting up players on Envy trying to get them to come over to Curse. And so Parasite wanted to go to Envy. He always wanted to go to Envy, and that's where he thought he was going to go. But then eventually, I don't know what happened or kind of team meeting Hastro and Rambo had with the guys, but Study and Nameless were like, no, we're not going anywhere. We're not leaving. We're going to stay on this team. We're going to grind this out. You know, and Merc, of course, wouldn't leave. And so Study and Nameless decided to stay on Envy, so now Parasite's like, oh, what am I going to do? ProoFy left FaZe, and FaZe is going to be in Season 2. Let me go over to FaZe. And so Parasite decides to go to FaZe. However, because of ProoFy going to OpTic, OpTic decides, well, we're going to give Imbos a second team. Now, I love Imbos. I think he's good for the brand. I think OpTic Gaming should have kept him on their team. I don't think OpTic should have gotten involved. These roster changes never turn into roster mania, as I call it, until OpTic gets involved. That's it. That's what created the storm back in December when JCap was dropped, and then all the roster changes, the Parasites and the Claysters and the Saints and the Rickies and all of that, all of those roster changes are what made roster mania. Because when OpTic opens up a spot, oh, I'm going to leave my team. The whole of Justice Pro is going to have to get a brand new roster, because when Miracles and Killa leave because they want to wear green and not even be in Season 2, that means that Neslo's going to leave and he's going to go to TK. And now you have FaZe Black that was created for ProoFy that doesn't have ProoFy. And FaZe Black, because of the moving around that they did, they basically have the team that they wanted originally. When Freaky Toast was on my channel, it was said that they wanted to drop Dito. Censor and Saints didn't want to play with him anymore. They wanted to drop Dito. And when Dito found out, he was like, well, now that you guys are talking to Formal and I found out about you guys talking to Formal, I want off the team. I want out of my contract. I don't want you to trade me. I don't care. I just want off of this team. I don't want to play with Censor. I don't want to play with Saints. I don't want to play with these guys anymore. But now Dito is on FaZe Black with Censor and Saints and Formal. So the team that SB was going to have, Apathy, Censor, Saints, and Formal, they have that team, except instead of having Apathy, they have Dito. Now, I don't know what kind of magic Censor worked to convince Dito to come play with them. Oh yeah, we were going to drop you, we really don't like you, we don't get along, me and you really hate each other. It's kind of like Ricky and Killa playing together again. But nevertheless, why don't you come over to my team? OpTic Nation also being created pulls Ricky away from the squad that was created at SB. And then Stainville leaves to fill that spot, and so now Justice Pro, and I got to give props to Big Snacks for putting a team together so that he could keep his Season 2 spot. But Justice Pro has to create an entirely new roster. And this is why, now here's my question. Before I say why I think OpTic Nation is a bad idea, here's my question. Temper and Hex, why? ProoFy has not won a major championship since 2011 on Black Ops 1. They won UGC Niagara on Call of Duty Black Ops 2, but Donut Shop and Envy, I believe, were the only two major US teams to go to that event. So why pick up ProoFy? What is it about this guy? Like, what is it? And I have nothing against ProoFy. I think he's a great player. But I think if I'm Temper, I'm like, you want to go somewhere else, then go somewhere else. I can get a great player to play with JCap, Replays, and Classic because they're a great team. They play well together. They've proven that. I can get even he could have got probably Parasite to go play with him. I could get a great player to come play with us. You know, if you want to go, go. I'm not creating a whole nother team. And then my question is for Hex, is why pull in ProoFy? Why take that risk? This dude, this is the 4th time in his career that he's joined OpTic Gaming. Why take the risk on ProoFy? For the burns that you've seen that Hex has taken, for the burn that you've seen that Temper just took, why pick up ProoFy. I don't get it. I don't understand what is so special. Now, I will say this. OpTic Gaming is a great team now. They're pretty scary looking, and on LAN I want to see what they're going to do. However, who cares? They already, with one team, had more of the streaming market share at MLG.TV than, or Twitch, doesn't matter. They have more streaming market share, Twitter market share, YouTube market share than whole other organizations combined. There's 3 and 4 organizations that you could put together, and none of them would have the Twitter followers of OpTic and the branding power to get sponsors of OpTic Gaming. And now, yeah, with the 2 teams, they have almost 2 million Twitter followers. It's ridiculous. Somebody should tell me how many YouTube subscribers they have now with those 2 teams. And I know Killa doesn't have a channel. And now OpTic Nation is 2nd in pro points. OpTic Nation, the other team they created, has more pro points than OpTic Gaming. I am baffled by the decision to pick up ProoFy. I just don't get it. And because they kept Imbos, which I love Imbos, I think he should have just stayed on the first team. OpTic should have rode that roster out. They got 3rd place at COD Champs. Why break up that team? They would have done great in Season 2. They would have got all the stream revenue, all that kind of stuff, unless it's a purely business decision. Like Hex wants to grab more of the market share of the streaming. If that's the decision, then I guess it makes sense. But what it does for competitive Call of Duty is you had a great potential future organization in SB. You had a great potential future organization in Justice Pro. And OpTic Nation didn't mess up SB. That was ProoFy. But OpTic Nation did mess up Justice Pro. And that was a great potential team. But now, Miracles Killa, they're all on separate teams. So the whole Justice Pro roster, those Miracles Killa and Neslo, and now they're all on different teams. And so instead of seeing this great team in Justice that would have played in Season 2, they're subs. So we don't even get to see them play as a whole unit. I was interested in seeing that team play. So I just don't get it. You guys maybe can explain to me what is so amazing about ProoFy that to allow basically his decisions to create a second phase team which breaks up SB, which moves all these players around, and then to leave that phase team and go to OpTic, which gets Parasite to go to phase black, but then realize that they're going to drop Rambo and Envious, and people don't focus on Parasite, focus on ProoFy. And it seems like he's going back to being the ProoFy of old, who just was tired of losing on Black Ops 2, tired of losing on Ghost with Envious, and is like, you know what? I'm going to go to phase, and instead of getting 2nd place at COD Champs again, oh, that's so funny. Instead of getting 2nd place at COD Champs again, I'm going to get 6th with phase. And because I got 6th and I'm so frustrated that I wasn't on the team that got 2nd, I'm going to leave phase. Or I'm going to get my own team. I want my own roster. I don't want to play with them anymore. And I'm going to get my own roster because I'm frustrated. It just doesn't make sense to me. And yeah, it adds to the drama and it's entertaining and blah, 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 blah. And it brings subscribers and viewers and Twitter becomes a nightmare. But I just don't know what makes ProoFy so worth it. He's a great player. I'd pick him up. You know, is he in top 10? Potentially. But is he worth, like, is he a Crim6? Is he worth creating a second team for? I'd create a second team for Crim6. Now, that would make sense. If Crim was free and he was like, I'll come to phase if you give me my own team and let me pick up my own players, I might do that if I was Temper. But for ProoFy, I would have let him go. And if I was Hex, I wouldn't have taken the risk. That's just my personal opinion, and that's why I think OpTic Nation is a bad idea, because what OpTic Nation does is it's almost like if there were 2 Xboxes, or 2 Miami Heats, or 2 San Antonio Spurs. You know, that's why they have the major leagues and the minor leagues in baseball and basketball. They have a little B team and they have an A team. And that's what I think worked. When Curse did it, it wasn't a problem because it was pretty obvious that Curse LV was like the big team, the higher ranked team, the team with the more pro points, and Curse NY was the B team, so to speak. Even though they ended up beating them at regionals. I think that's why it worked and it didn't bother any of us. But now that 3 organizations have 6 teams, like I looked at the bracket today for Niagara and I'm like, really? Really? FaZe Black, FaZe Red, OpTic Gaming, OpTic Nation. I mean, really? Curse whatever and Curse whatever. It's just It doesn't make any sense in a 16-team bracket to have 6 of the teams be from 3 organizations. That's just my personal opinion. I don't think Call of Duty is big enough to do that. I think the NBA, you know, there's like 3 or 4 teams in California, and baseball's got 2 teams in New York, and football's got there's multiple teams within a same large populated area is going to happen. But what's happening now, and maybe Hex just needed to have enough money to pay for the 12 people that live in the OpTic house or the new Halo team or something. I don't know. Like, I honestly, I don't know. And now, talk about a monopoly. Like, MLG.TV gets OpTic to sign with them, and now OpTic has 8 players that are going to play on that channel and 2 teams. Nobody else is going to get views. You know, it's just the SB team. Who's going to watch them play? Who's going to watch Justice Pro play? If OpTic Gaming isn't playing, oh, wait, let's get on the sticks and get some viewers. No, OpTic Nation is playing right now. It just, I don't think it's good for competitive Call of Duty. That's just my opinion. This is going long, and I'm sorry if I ranted. I'm sorry if I sound negative. I'm just saying what I'm saying. And I'm sorry if it makes it sound like I'm bashing ProoFy. That's not what I'm trying to do. I think he's a good guy. I think he's a good player. I just think some of the decisions that are being made right now are unfortunate. And not by ProoFy. ProoFy's trying to win. He's tired of losing. But I think a couple of owners could have made different decisions and said, no, ProoFy, we're not giving you a second team. No, ProoFy, you're not coming back to OpTic. I'm happy with the players that I have. I'm so happy that even when I pull you in, I'm going to give Imbos his own team. So why not just keep Imbos on the team that got 3rd at COD Champs? I don't know. This is your boy Kingdom Soldier, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.